Hello, welcome to another weekly update. Kind of a quiet one this week, it feels. It's summer break for a lot of people going on vacation, and time for everyone to kind of take a deep breath, take check, and get everything ready. Going into September is it's when it starts to kind of pick up again, going into conference season as well. We've got Ignite to look forward to in November. It kind of feels that kind of pace has slackened off a little bit. But there's still kind of plenty of interesting things happening, and it's good because it gives us a chance to look around a little bit outside of the things we normally concentrate on and just see what else is happening. So 3 stories today to share with you. I would say none of them probably are really dev, but I think they all affect us. They're all based, well, at least 2 of them are heavily Teams based, and then the other is more general Microsoft. So let's get into it. First of all, blog post on the Microsoft Teams blog, tech community website, around changes to the Microsoft Teams Room app. So this is not changes that directly affect developers in terms of new API capabilities or new ways of doing things or anything like that, but it's a common pain point for developers because developers tend to spend a lot of time collaborating, they tend to spend a lot of time in front of whiteboards, and if you're anything like me, your teams involve remote users. So this is a real common problem where if you're remote and there are people in a room collaborating and there's a whiteboard involved, as a remote person, you have a terrible experience. It's not great. You can't see the whiteboard properly. The light is never right. And so it's just not great. And so we saw this addressed earlier in the year around, I can't remember, it was around kind of 6 months ago when Microsoft announced this kind of cool capability. They gave a demo, it was really interesting, around intelligently picking up whiteboard content in a room, framing it nicely, cropping it, adjusting it, optimizing it, and then also making it so that when people stood in front of it to write on it, for the remote participants, they could still see through the people onto the whiteboard. So in fact, the remote people were getting a better experience than the people in the room, which is really good to see. And we're at the point now where that is ready to be rolled out to everyone. So this is very exciting. So this is an update to the Microsoft Teams Room app that is coming to everybody. And it's this new content camera feature to intelligently manage whiteboards. And so what this means is you can use a stock standard webcam, no fancy cameras needed, stock standard whiteboard, no fancy whiteboards needed, no massive Microsoft Surface needed or anything like that, Surface Hub, don't need any of that. Just standard kit, and it's the technology doing the right thing, making the experience better for remote people. So this is really, really good to see. And for me, this is what sets Microsoft apart from the competition. Microsoft in Teams, they're not just making another kind of Me Too communication meetings app. They're pulling together lots of skills that they have in terms of AI, machine learning, cloud compute, to really deliver a genuinely better experience, and that's very exciting for me. So I'm really excited to see this come out. I think it'll make a big difference. I think it kind of cements Microsoft as being thought leaders in this space and really pushing the boundaries of what we think is possible in kind of terms of meeting room experiences. So I think that's really cool. I'm really excited by that. Another good news story whilst we're here, around Microsoft Teams, and this is kind of really interesting because this is a use of Teams that I don't think was envisaged when they started writing Teams, and it plays to how extensible and how configurable Teams is. So this is a blog post written by the mayor, the chief municipal executive, the guy in charge of a town in Norway, or a citizenship in Norway, whose name I will try not to butcher. Kristiansund is the name of the area, and they've adopted Teams. Now this starts off as a blog post that you might expect to read about how the kind of authorities embrace Teams and they're all using Teams and it's cut down meeting times, and all that's true, and that's how this blog post does start. But actually, they kind of then took it further, and they started bringing Teams to the populace, the citizens, the actual people that they were serving, outside of City Hall and outside of the offices, and making information more available to citizens, and making it easier to kind of work with other municipalities as well, It's all part of a bigger kind of play that they're doing around streamlining IT, making wireless better, and all these things. But their kind of main sort of tenet is creating a better place to live, and they're using Teams as kind of bedrock to make that happen, to make information flow better, and to make it easier for kind of residents to go to a local portal, request services. That information goes straight through into Teams. Everybody's working out better together. It's really nice. It's really kind of interesting. They're saying as well that the local power company has integrated its systems around ordering and outages and stuff into one of the teams, so that like the residents stay up to date and all the kind of everybody can keep up to date with what the infrastructure is doing. It's really exciting actually to read the blog post, because it's a vision of better working together, of services being more accessible, and using kind of Teams as the way to leverage that and make that happen. So it's really interesting. As the kind of post concludes, they're not stopping, they're keeping going. They're rolling sensors out throughout the city to kind of collect information back in again. So really interesting one, and I think it should serve for a kind of blueprint for the future, I think, as well, about how Teams can be used in ways that you may not have thought of before, and that's down really to how extensible it is and how configurable it is. All right, two good news stories. I'm going to leave on a bit of a downer maybe. I think it depends. Again, not specifically to do with development at all, but if you're in this space, this may well affect you, so you should probably know about it. And it's a change. It's on ZDNet, Mary Jo Foley. It's a change to licensing. Woo, boring. I know, but it's a change to the bring your own license option that enables you to run Microsoft licensed software, so OSs mostly, on VMs in different clouds. So that's a thing you can do at the moment. That's changing slightly, and it's going to affect you if you're running your VMs and your services using your own licenses, and you're doing that on like AWS and Google and maybe Azure. I think you have to read the blog post and like go through all the detail and understand. I'm not an expert on licensing, I'm afraid. I refuse to become an expert on licensing. I don't find it that interesting, but I know it's very important. I'm not denying that. I just don't really want to get involved in it. So if you have any kind of VMs, if you're running stuff where it's bring your own license and you're using Microsoft licenses to run those VMs in the cloud, you probably want to cast your eye over this, especially if that cloud is not Azure. So yeah, just a bit something to be aware of, I think, if you're if you're the developer, but also you're involved in all the IT because it's a small organization, or if you can point this blog post at the people in your organization that need to care about this stuff. It's coming in October, so it's not that far away if you need to make some changes or buy some more licenses or do something. So just want to leave you with that one. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much everything for me. Yeah, it feels like I've been talking forever, but that's because I had to do 3 takes of this because things kept happening, people kept arriving, I kept having to stop. So I'm going to stop talking now and go and let you enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will talk to you again next week. I know what I'm going to go and do now. I'm going to go and record a video for a really interesting blog post that is going to come out probably on Monday now. Yeah, IoT and Teams, very exciting. So anyway, have a great weekend, and I will speak to you again next time.